Hello friends, and welcome to today's episode. They didn't have much, but they had lots of love. As it stands, far too many people have to deal with living in poverty. We need to remember that sometimes if we step up and try to help, good things will happen. That's why stories like Ernesto and his grandma are so heartwarming. Aaron Murphy on TikTok says that Ernesto was left alone in San Salvador as a baby. His grandma, on the other hand, took him in and raised him as best she could. There wasn't much money for them and they lived in a dangerous place, but they did their best. Ernesto started selling flowers as he got older to help support himself and his grandma. Until one day he met Murphy, who had written about the family and their situation. He wrote, "No person should live like this," in a video that showed where Ernesto and his grandma lived. He was living in a stick-built shack in El Salvador's most dangerous area. Murphy made up his mind that day to help. He made a GoFundMe page and several videos on social media to raise money to help the grandma and her grandson move out of their shack and into a real house. Ernesto sells flowers with his grandmother on the streets of San Salvador to pay for school and help support his family. They built their house out of trash and scrap metal that they found on the street, he wrote on the page. They shouldn't have built their house next to a slum in that dangerous area. We want to build them a real house on land that they own. They should also have their own small business, so the grandmother doesn't have to depend on her 9-year-old grandson to help her out. Soon, more than 1,600 people gave the family almost $50,000, which was a huge amount of money that could change their lives. As more people gave money, Murphy began to make Ernesto's life better. His grandson and he went shopping together, and Ernesto was free to choose any books or toys he liked. He also got to eat and choose stuff for school. Then Murphy gave him a tablet as a gift to help him study. "I could never have afforded to give him this," the grandmother said through tears in a video. That wasn't all, though. In the end, Murphy drove them to their new home after volunteers had fixed up a house, bought lots of food for a community party, and put it together. Of course, they didn't know it was for them. The grandma said, "What a beautiful house," and Murphy then told her that the house and the small store were theirs. "I could never picture having a house like this," she said through tears as Ernesto smiled. Now that Ernesto and his family lived in a safe house close to a business, he could finally focus on his studies. Also, the rest of the money was put into the child's college fund so that when he turns 17, he can finally follow his dream of becoming a doctor. A lot of people around the world are just like Ernesto and his grandma, they are fighting to get the things they need to live. Most of the time, these are good people who are just having a bad time. They are doing their best. So not only does helping them change your life, it's often also really fun. Even if you don't know Ernesto personally, this story shows how important it is to talk to people without judging them and listen to their stories to understand what they're really going through. There are usually things you can do to help, like giving away old clothes or getting someone a hot meal. You could even start your own GoFundMe page. It's true that giving back makes us feel good and gives us a feeling of meaning. What's not to love about that? That's it for today, friends. Please let us know what you think about this story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon for more amazing stories.